So I needed to take a moment and throw some stuff out here into the world. How y'all doing today, this evening, or whatever time it is as you find this? I'm going to be doing a series of videos that I know several of you will find very interesting. I've been brought to a point in my life where it has become necessary to tell my story. Like, a lot of people talk about me, and there are a lot of stories about me, and there's a lot of insane things that people say. Not just about me, but as many of you know, like impossible things taking place around me or whatever, you know, like it's so hard to put videos out where everybody in my audience or all of my friends or circle of people or whatever circles of people can understand. And it's always been whatever crowd that I'm trying to reach to. If I start talking their lingo and being a part of that, then when I'm explaining deep stuff in that style, I make other people think I'm schizophrenic. And then if I parlor to the group that thinks I'm schizophrenic, the one that I was just talking to thinks that I just lost my mind. Like it's really interesting to see our society without judgment, and to make so many friends in various places who have various beliefs and ideas. But it's really sad to see how everybody keeps themselves divided socially in cliques and the pecking order that they try to establish. So making videos in general has always been a tough thing for me. I'm losing rep points somewhere, you know, whoever I pander to, so I'm not going to pander to anybody. I'm just going to say that there's a lot of stuff in my history that I have decisively remained silent about for many years. And, you know, there are, of course, people who do know, people who are involved in situations, and a handful of people that have actually seen anything that people are referring to. But I just want to say that God is so amazing that he literally has to hold himself back when doing certain signs and certain wonders. Because there are some things that he does that are so outside of how the human thinks reality can work, that when that person tells something to somebody else that they witnessed God do, the hearer might think that they're entirely insane because reality doesn't work like that. You're delusional, it's a fantasy, it's a lie. And, I mean, you can see the bags in my eyes, like, I'm obviously a wreck. Like, I've been brought to a point where every accusation that has ever come against me has somehow been collected by a group of people. And they're not exactly bright enough. I mean, they're good people, but they're not exactly bright enough to realize that all of those periods of persecution and trial in my life were coinciding with the things that that God was doing or the universe was doing. And a lot of people get upset with me and think I'm egotistical or like want to tell me how much of a high horse I am simply because of like the level of what God does in my life. And so when I'm starting this series of videos expressing, you know, the hopefully chronological order of events, I tried telling like my story really briefly to a good friend today, and I got about 8 or 9 years into like the pure insanity of like weird paranormal experiences taking place, and realized I'd already like lost chronological order. And I mean, I sat down a few days ago and realized that everything that God has ever done in my life that freaks people out, that they like try to kill me for, um, it's all been telling a story. Like it all tells a story beyond me, beyond my name, beyond who I am, beyond the worthless sinner that everyone thinks I am. Um, God wrote something, and He used my life to do it. You know, but that doesn't make me egotistical or whatever. I mean, I believe that everybody has the opportunity to be written in if they simply just like surrender everything to the Creator. But nobody really does that, and even the ones who think that they have that are saved are actually being used to be like the most malicious of all, and are trying. It's a pretty fucked up world. Pardon my mouth, but it is. It's definitely Satan's world. Or there's definitely corruption or evil that permeates. However you want to look at that. There's so many circles. I've got Christians, I've got atheists, I've got pagan friends. Like I mean, I am not somebody who judges people, and so you know, some circles I can cuss in, some circles you go to hell in, and like I repent. Let's talk about some Christian stuff for a second. Like, you know, they say that you repent and you're going to go to heaven. Well, that's true. But, huge but. Like, oh my goodness, how do you spend an entire life and miss this but? I will pray a prayer off and on throughout my life that I ask for forgiveness for the things that I've done. And I'm serious about it. And I'm on my knees, like facing the ground usually. And I also ask for, you know, forgiveness for all the things I don't even know that I've done. What have I caused in other people's lives? You know. So people who need to like express to me that I should like repent of adultery, like while it's sad that you'd rather focus on somebody's sin rather than what God wrote or is doing or is saying, like you don't know the heart of that man and his relationship with the Father. And everybody's relationship is personal and unique. And so when you go around judging everybody's relationship with the Creator according to your own like flesh world that you have built your temple for God in, you're actually screwing yourself and the rest of the body because you don't recognize the manifold ways that God has made just the human psyche. You know, relationships with God are as unique as there are faces and fingerprints. In churches today, the ones that have attacked me the most, they call themselves a body, but really they just collect a lot of like-minded people. So if they're a body, well, no, they might be a bunch of fingers, or a bunch of toes, or a bunch of ears, or you know, they judge everything else and they just stick to themselves. And when churches exist in that environment for you know decades or you know, generations even, they lose track of what the other pieces look like, and then they judge each other, and that's where you get your denominations and divisions mostly. Why they're so rooted in this world, what that's doing, and the Christians are too haughty and too smart to realize that that sort of like super division and scattering really confuses the world about what Yeshua or what the Christ was. And we're not to be stumbling blocks. We are not to be stumbling blocks to the world. So So when we're in this like this unity across the world about what is really, of God, we're not helping much. It reduces the impact of truth being manifest in this realm. And I understand this, and what I just told you is something of the wisdoms that I have been attacked for most of my life over. One of the most recent ones is that I'm lazy, and I mean, those of you who know me the closest know that I was thrown down a flight of stairs about 10 years ago, and the concrete like nudged 3 of my ribs 33 degrees, like out of tilt. And so while I don't collect disability and I do hold a job, I don't have the tenacity or the physical drive that men have. Like that's always been a burden and a setback. So, God's been good to me. He gives me a job that allows me to do just that, just enough, and provides everything else. Always has. But people would rather, attack me. And I've been attacked very recently in such a way that has caused me to force out the entire truth of where I've been, what I've done. And not all of it's good. Like, I mean, check it. I have never said I'm perfect. I've never said I'm great. I've never said any of that crap that I'm so accused of being self-centered for. I've done some really stupid things in my life. And I've gotten way better as I've gotten older, There's definitely one woman in this city who can vouch for that. She's read every single word I've written, I think, at this point, to her over 10 years. And I got pretty addicted to writing to her. So one person knows that there's some real whack stuff going down. But it's time for me to draw all the little stories together, put them in a chronological order for everybody, so everybody can shut up, sit down, and stop being pricks about the stupidest things, so that they can wake up and see stuff that's like way more important for their world. I'm going to need some encouragement. I got a lot of stories to tell. So poke me, prod me, get me to speak when I start to slow down. I really need